Last week, the Lakers made a move in signing Christian Wood for a minimum contract for 2 years, which is kind of mind-boggling to some because he is a 17-10 player, and the Lakers got him for a minimum contract, and they're expected to have him come off the bench or maybe start alongside AD. I guess that's kind of just something we have to figure out down the line. But what are your thoughts on the move for them?
For me, I think the move for Christian Wood, honestly, it was a move that I think that they needed to make. I know a lot of people kind of look at his shortcomings. Oh, he's not a good defender. He kind of has an attitude problem
Yeah.
and things of that sort. But when you kind of look at the situations that he's been in, I mean, he played on a Milwaukee team where he was barely getting minutes, and now he goes to a Detroit team where it's not really any vets over there. It's other than Andre Drummond and Blake
Yeah.
Griffin, and they're trying to get theirs. So he hasn't been in good situation. I mean, with the Rockets, he was with nothing but young guys. He hasn't been in situations where he's really been able to play winning basketball. And I think when you have a coach like Darvin Ham, who he's familiar with from his time in Milwaukee,
Yeah.
can kind of guide him on. You already know you have LeBron and AD there, and you have AD on the front line helping him defend. It's a different dynamic. The way everybody talks about his defense, it's a different dynamic when he's going up with AD because AD is there. Him and Vanderbilt
Yeah.
is there. Them two being there changes the whole dynamic of the team and the whole dynamic of his gameplay. He doesn't play the same, and I think he's gonna be. I think a lot of teams are going to regret letting that type of
I
talent
agree.
get to the Lakers.
I agree. Well, for me, I made a video on my main channel the other day and saying this kind of reminds me of when the Lakers signed Dwight Howard back in 2020, 2019. This was a guy who nobody wanted him, nothing but bad things on his name, and he was looking for redemption. And Christian Wood to me seems like he's in that same ballpark as far as like, hey, I'm ready to prove something to a championship team. I mean, this team just went to the Western Conference Finals, so you get to play along LeBron and AD, who Christian Wood has been compared to like a poor man's Anthony Davis. Like this is a guy who's 6'10", can score the ball on all three levels. The defense isn't there, but when you're playing alongside AD and you have some other pieces defensively that can guard the perimeter, guard the wings, it doesn't really make it that hard for him to fit in. So I
So
think I honestly I love the move, and to me, like I said, this team reminds me closely to the 2020 team that won the championship. Like they have a lot of pieces that kind of just gel around LeBron and AD. So I think this honest, like you said, a lot of teams are gonna beat themselves up this season as far as like letting this guy slip. And you know what? Maybe they just couldn't get him on a minimum contract like people in LA can, because you are in LA, and that's one of the perks of being there. You can get guys on minimums. You can get guys on the mid level exceptions. So I honestly think this was the best move for the Lakers in the offseason, but I think they had the best offseason overall. Would you agree?
I I honestly agree. I know there's going to be a lot of people who bring up teams like Phoenix. You could also look at a team like what Cleveland's done, getting Max Strus. Just you can look at other teams and think, they've had a good offseason, but you can look at Dallas as well. They got
Dallas did
stronger.
have a good offseason, yeah.
But I definitely think it's the Lakers, and the reason why is because one, you sign a talent like Gabe Vincent. I mean, he was arguably Miami's third best player in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, he was.
Um, I think that he's going to be a perfect backup for D'Angelo Russell. Honestly, I can see him going toe to toe with D'Lo for the starting spot. I mean, I think
Me
that
too.
he's that good. I think that he plays with a different type of chip on his shoulder, especially being undrafted. I think that's just a good talent for the Lakers to have acquired. I also think re-signing Rui Hachimura, re-signing Austin Reeves, of course. We already see how Austin is playing in the USA Olympics. I think that he's had a fantastic offseason. I think that the Lakers got him on a discount, to be
They did.
honest. And I just think now signing Christian Wood, it's like Christian Wood is such a great talent. I don't even think that was our best signing.
Yeah,
That's the
I
craziest
agree.
part.
Well, well, for them, like it just adds like ammunition in the chamber. Like this guy can come off the bench, he can start along AC, and he can give you games where you can really need that 17 points, that 20 points in that one night. We saw with Rui Hachimura, like he gave us one good playoff series where he was just hitting shots and just being aggressive, and it helped win us a series. I think Christian Wood's that kind of player where like we're when we're going to the playoff time and we're like, all right, X factors for every team going into the playoffs. Christian Wood could very well be that guy. He could be that guy that's like, okay, if Christian Wood has a stretch where he's averaging like 19 and 12 and he's like his defense is not so bad alongside AD, especially AD, like I feel like as a player and you know that you have one of the greatest shot blockers behind you, you kind of like are more motivated to play defense. And you know what? Like every guy in the NBA can play defense if they wanted to. It's just there's such a toll on doing so much on offense that it doesn't help you on the defensive end. And I think we'll see that around the
Absolutely.
league this year. Like you mentioned Phoenix. I think Bradley Beal's gonna be a better defender than people are giving him credit for because he
I
has
think so
help
too.
around him. So I think when you have like a foundation of defensively with guys like Gabe Vincent, guys like Jackson Hayes, who's another rim running center, two-way big, this makes it easier for him to like fit in and kind of just play more just like loosely. Like he doesn't really have to be like he Dallas where he was looked at as the main anchor defensively. Sometimes they sometimes people put roles on certain guys that they're just not. You can't force someone who's not a good whatever to just excel at that just because that's what they have to do now. So I think with him, he can kind of focus more on scoring. He can focus on being more of like a three-level scorer, and the defense will come. And I think honestly, I think defense becomes overrated throughout a whole game until it gets down to the last like 5 minutes of a quarter. If you can really lock in for those last 5 minutes of quarter and take it possession by possession, we've seen
Hmm.
guys that are not known as defenders turn it up like and really like it's not, I just think it kind of gets overrated until it really matters. So I think the Lakers
Absolutely.
got to steal here in Christian Wood.